Here at Amazicon, Mike from the Ninjaverse, and I'm with
Rusty Gilligan. How you doing?
Now, you're a long-time comic book artist.
Yes, I am. Been since the 70s.
Since the 70s. I was just flipping through some of your stuff. It looks like you had your hands in a little bit of everything.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
Started in '78. Got my first official job from Stan Lee, and I had inked a picture of Captain America going across Big Ben that was being used in a UK Marvel version of a comic book.
Okay.
After that, I wound up doing a lot of art for Comics Buyer's Guide and Comics magazines, a lot of fanzine work, and I got my huge big break in '80 and '81 when I started doing heavy metal. I worked on the first official heavy metal movie. And that was great. I did the B-17 sequence.
Oh, the B-17 sequence is fantastic.
I love zombies, and it's something that's followed me forever.
Have you seen the South Park heavy metal?
Yes.
That's
Yes, I love it. It's great. It was thrilling to be literally to be a part of comic history. I mean, you'll walk by and you'll see someone, and you'll be like, hey, like that's a star, blah blah blah, and you'll be like, that's the highlight of my day. But to me, I go back to that same thing. No matter what jobs I've done since, that's the highlight of my day. And with this show, they actually put together. That's one of the sketches that I had done for the original heavy metal, the movie. What had happened was they had asked me for sketch work through an agent, and I said sure, I'd be interested in doing it, and I was doing something a little bit more realistic. So they didn't like it, they rejected everything, I was crushed. Then I found out Mike Plug, legend, was doing the sketches for the movie. So I said, you know what, maybe that's what I need to do. So I'm looking through Mike Plug's werewolf works and werewolf type stuff, etc., etc. Then finally what happened was I started submitting those type of sketches, and it caught on. I got to look at bombardier jackets and the B-17s and the floating orb stuff and on and on and on. And that's how I basically got into it and got the match. But zombie stuff has been floating around with me my whole career in the background. I most recently worked on Walking Dead Season 1, which I've done. I have pictures in here. I've done the training card set, I worked on production art, and I worked on the Dead World card set. I worked on the Night of the Living Dead card set, etc., etc. You know, it's a fun thing.
So you were with zombies before zombies were cool.
That's it. You have to think about it like this. Before people started getting scared, someone was around to scare them. So, and I would love to take credit and say, hey, I did the zombie thing. But zombies have been huge since like the 1700s. It's just, we're just slowly picking them back up again.
Hey, it comes and goes, and it gets hot, and now nothing's hotter.
I think it's a lot of fun.
Now, do you find that, from what I've kind of seen, the heavy metal film stays kind of timeless in that genre? It's a great combination of interesting stories, fun music, and just vibrant, kind of jumps off the screen at you.
I agree with you. I'm a personal fan of the Golden and Silver Age. I love the public domain characters, the Daredevils, the Bullseyes, on and on, Black Terrors. And back when those comics were around, they didn't know if children, mostly, were going to accept a comic, so they would make everything self-contained. So a story didn't rely on a number 2, 3, 4 arc. There were no variant covers. There was no 80s image slush fund to keep you around. Buy the polybag issue. Who knows what card you get?
Aluminum foil cover.
And remember when comics were an investment? So that kind of thing. But it was told from a Golden Age standpoint. First, the story was set up. There was a strong plot. There was strong subplots. There were strong byplots. It was self-contained. And every single portion of the movie brought you more about the Green Orb. And the part that that I liked, obviously, that I was in, the part that I liked was the zombies were out to kill, they were out to scare. If you looked at some of the zombie poses, they almost looked like what Seduction of the Innocent was about. They were those scary, monster poses. There's a needle going to the eye, a claw coming up from the ground. Then there would be the Tarna sequence where she was beautiful nude riding that giant hawk creature. The aliens floating over Washington, D.C., the Den, Richard Corbin. It was timeless because it was more golden age. And I think that's what we're missing in the industry today. It was adult, albeit, but heavy metal was always known for being adult. Comics are too adult now. And I think that they're surpassing the ratings. And I think the reason is because we see comic books and we see the comic movies, Captain America, the Batman movies, the Man of Steel movies. What we're not realizing is comics are being written or attempted to like they're movies, and they shouldn't be. They're their own medium, and they should be treated that way. And when comics go back to comics, you'll see comic sales flourishing again. In the meantime, you'll see just a lot of independents struggling to get their point across, and that's kind of sad. Little cries in the dark. But it's picking up. It really is, and I see the larger companies going down.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I had for instance, my 7-year-old nephew was given a Iron Man comic book by a neighbor. The guy knew that the kid liked Iron Man. Got him an Iron Man comic. It was the Extremist Iron Man trade paperback. It's got people getting shot in the head. Yeah. It's a little too graphic for a 7-year-old. And I was thinking, I'm like, this is, if I got an Iron Man collected edition from 1978, it's a story an adult can enjoy, but a 7-year-old can at least get in on a good footing.
That's it. Where's the George Tuska Iron Man? Where's the strong-willed man in the suit? The real knight. Where's the man of tomorrow that has the scientific know-how? I don't want to see two guys in bed. I don't want to see two girls in bed either. That's not the point. I don't want to know what they voted for. I don't want to know that the Klan is behind some villain or something. I want to see Magneto punch someone in the face.
Yes.
I just want to see comics.
Yeah.
If I want to learn that other crap, I'll watch the news.
Yeah. The political element has leaked into it. There's the true, I guess, horror in the news has now kind of creeped into there, and it's taken the fantasy out of it.
And the funny thing is, they'll always say that there was a political element to it, because look at the X-Men, they were mutants, and Kirby and Lee created this, quote-unquote empire where some people will argue that they're, clones of the Jewish plight and the Holocaust. Some people will say it had to do with, being black towards the period, on and on and on. But
sometimes it's a good story.
That's it.
And you could look back at it. Yeah.
That's it. Our life is a soap opera.
Yeah.
We don't need to pay for it. In that status. I'm only interested in the comic, but I find it funny that I work in the industry and I haven't brought a brand new comic since 2000.
I agree with you. I think it's got to get back to. It's got to get back to where it was a little bit, and remember where it came from.
Now we look at a lot of things and we say everything is going retro. We see like the beginnings of some guys, and we see some super teams. This is the prologue. This is the prequel of everything, and they always seem to do like a retro. Retro's hot. Retro is in. Funny thing was, retro is never out. I don't know why we further ourselves to painted in the corner. I don't think that anything more can be said about modern day comics unless somebody pulls the cat out of the wire and starts doing the right thing. I'm just not impressed anymore. I'm just not. And I'm not impressed with digital comics, and I'm not impressed with digital inking and digital coloring and digital whatever. When I first started in comics, there were no fax machines. There was no internet. There was no overnight shipping. So how hard did we work just to get pushed away by 52?
Yeah, it is a shame. It's almost like people got involved that didn't have the love for it, and threw away what everybody loved to get new people to buy it, because they figured they had a lot of us on the hook as being fans, and we'd keep coming back, and we want to get new people now. And they think to get new people, you got to destroy the old.
All I know is that I worked with Kirby, who was a great guy. I worked with Bill Kane, Gray Morrow, a number of others. They're all gone, God bless their souls. They worked really hard. They were advertising guys that chomped on cigars and drank cold black coffee and worked in the middle of the night to get all of their assignments done. And for the 75, 80 years of history that we all enjoy, a new #1 comes out and erases it all. And the true crisis is the dealers are slowly going out of business. So that's comics.
Well, hopefully it all survives. That's all we can hope for. Well, it's been nice meeting with you.
You
nice
too,
talking
brother.
with you.
I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.